Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Kat, the Nurse Flipper. I am a full-time reseller, primarily on eBay, but I also sell on Poshmark, Mercari, and Etsy. Today, I'm going to show you the highest dollar sold items in the last month, which we have done about $14,000 the last 30 days. I'm going to show you over 40 items that I sold for over $50 that were some really good profits. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so all of these items were my own, sold on my eBay store. The link is below in the description if you would like to look at them a little more closely. And all of these items were buy it now. I very rarely do auctions, and there are no auctions in this video. So I'm going to tell you what the item was, what it sold for, where I got it, and how long it took to sell. Up first is a Kachina Doll, which is one of my favorite things to sell. This is a handmade Native American Kachina Doll snow mud face. This is Navajo. It was hand painted and signed. This one I paid $10 for in a really big lot on an online auction. It actually had been sitting in my death pile a few months and sold in under a week from being listed for $50. So this one's about a $35 profit. Watch for Kachina dolls, even unsigned, they can sell for around this $50 mark. And there are a few artists that sell for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So definitely something to check out, turn them over. If they're asking a high price, I would definitely look and see if you can read the signature and look out and see if that artist is one of the higher selling ones. Alright, up next is actually a Barbie item. So I sell all kinds of items. I pretty much will pick up anything that will bring me a profit. And Barbie sets or themed items that are vintage sell very well. This next one is a McDonald's drive-through menu board. This is a Mattel Barbie McDonald's Fun Time Restaurant drive-through menu board, and I did put for dollhouse. Maybe somebody wants a McDonald's drive-through in their dollhouse. This one I paid less than $5 for. It did take about 4 months to sell, so it was a little bit longer, and this one sold for $55, making it about a $40 profit. Next is the first of a few items that you will see that are from my friend Charlene. I typically do not do consignment selling. However, Charlene is one of the people that lists for me. She had these items at her house, so she actually listed them. I paid her to list them, and then what we are doing is splitting the profit. If you do not know, Harley items can bring really big money. Some of the t-shirts are more bread and butter and might only bring you $15 to $20. Typically the jackets are going to be higher dollar, and that is what this next one is. This is a HarleyDavidson women's prestige racing style cotton jacket. It is not a leather jacket, and this one sold for $55. Again, my friend Charlene, so no purchase cost into this for me. We did split the profit, which was about $20 a piece. And this one did sell in under a month. Next item I won in an online auction. It sold very fast. I actually got 3 of them for $20, so I spent about $7 a piece, and this one sold in under a month. This is a vintage Murano art glass clown, 12.5 inches. I did put with original label because it did still have its sticker, and I did put confetti because this one had the mix of different colors in the glass. This one sold for the $50, which makes it about a $38 profit. Up next is another Navajo item. I absolutely love selling Native American, and as far as attributing things to particular tribes, a lot of times you can look up the signature of the artist and find out which tribe they are affiliated with. That is the way I use most often. I do use WorthPoint to look up a history as far as prices. This next one is a Storyteller. This is a T-Veil Navajo Storyteller doll with 2 children, Native American pottery figurine. I paid about $5 for this, and it sold for $55.98. And it did take about 4 months to sell, but it ended up being about a $40 profit. This next item is an ornament that when I saw it, I really did not expect it to be worth that much. It is a Kurt S. Adler, and some of his ornaments can go very, very high. And this one went high and it sold in under a week from listing. This is a 1984 Kurt S. Adler Porcelain Doll. This was from Christmas Carol, The Ghost of Jacob. It was Marley. This one sold for $57.91. I am actually only a few dollars in, so this one is over a $45 profit. Up next is a sterling bracelet. I tend to look for sterling that has colors or has like a really unique pattern or marking to it if I'm picking up bracelets or earrings. I don't like to pick up just plain sterling silver because there's so much of it out there. It can be really hard to sell. This next one was a really cool rainbow bracelet. This is a vintage rainbow cocktail sterling silver multi-gemstone. It was hinged. I did put Pride Gift because it was a rainbow. It sold for $58.90. I paid $5, so this one is about a $45 profit. Up next is some license plates, and I will tell you the license plates that have brought me the most money out of the over 1,000 that I bought have been vanity plates or personalized plates, and pairs of license plates tend to bring the most money. I have made higher dollar on a few other single ones, but mostly it's been the vanity and the pairs. So this next one is a pair of license plates. This is a vintage 1951 Ohio license plate pair, collectible. They were black. You can see they are not in the best of condition, and they still sold for $56. I am less than $1 into each, so this is about a $45 profit. This next item was signed, but it was an item that I didn't recognize the signature, and I actually couldn't make it out. So what I do in those situations, I don't spend forever researching. If I can't figure out the signature, I will list the item as signed and leave it at that, artist unknown, because some people will search just for signed items. And this next one was a really cool glass paperweight that I picked up at the flea market for only $5. This is a vintage Vitrix signed Swirl Art Glass cross paperweight. It was green. It was a big one. It was 6 inches wide. Sold for $55.43. I picked up this one as well as a pink swirl one, which I do still have. This one did take about 5 months to sell, so it was a little bit longer, but it still ended up being about a $45 profit. Next is an item that came in my license plate, but it wasn't a license plate. It was actually a division of forestry sign. So if you see metal signs that are from the government and public places, those signs can bring really, really good money, just like this one did. This is a vintage metal embossed classified forest division of forestry. This one sold for $62.99. I did only pay $1 for this as it was in my license plate lot, and this one is over a $50 profit. Coming up next are 2 Longaberger baskets. I will tell you with Longaberger, I only pick them up typically if they have the liner and the protector. And I also try to only pick up ones that either have their original card with them, so I know the name of the basket, or they are very easily identified, because with Longaberger, people search for certain baskets, and if you don't know the name, they can be a little harder to sell. Both of these I'm getting ready to show you sold in under a month. This first one is a Longaberger Good Old Summertime Seashell Basket. It was a complete set. It had the lid. I did put combo because it also had the liner and protector. Sold for $60. I did pay $10, so it's about a $45 profit, and it sold really fast. I think with this one being nautical, it has a seashell, I could grab both Longaberger collectors and also collectors that were looking for stuff for like a beach themed room. Next Longaberger basket, I don't think you would think of as a traditional basket, and this is one that I have found actually 2 times now, so I know they are out there. It's a little coin basket. This is a 2003 Longaberger Blue Ribbon Warm Pride coin basket. It did have the lid and the liner, and this one sold for $62.99. I am again about $10 in, so this one's about a $48 profit, and it sold in under a month. Up next is another Kachina, and this Kachina sold in under a week. It is another one out of a box that was sitting back in my death pile. And I will tell you, with the Kachinas, a lot of them do look similar, so Google Lens will help you identify the name of a lot of them. This one was signed. Do you hear my rooster? My rooster's crowing. I'm recording this video in the morning, and he is having a crowing competition with my neighbor's rooster right now. So if you hear a rooster, that would be why. So let's go ahead and take a look at this owl Kachina. This is a vintage Navajo Native American Kachina doll. Owl, handmade, hand painted. It was signed. This one sold for $62.37. I paid about $5, so this one is close to a $50 profit. Yeah, rooster is just having a ball. If you do not know, my chicken pen is actually attached to my shed that I record my videos and do all of my listing and packing in. This next item is a beautiful, beautiful art glass heart, and it was a Canadian art glass maker. This is by P. Shang. It was a 6-inch heart sculpture, studio art glass, black and white sign, sold for $60. This one actually took a little over 6 months to sell. I paid about $10 for this, so this one's about a $40 profit. All right, next up is another Longaberger basket, and this one sold for almost $100. A lot of times with Longaberger, bigger is better. The Longaberger waste baskets, laundry baskets, and larger size baskets tend to bring quite a bit of money. This next one's actually a large kind of picnic basket style. This is a Longaberger Classic Hostess Weekender basket. It is a new set. The plastic was still on the lid. This one sold for $99 in under a week. I am about $10 into this, so this is about a $70 profit after fees. Up next is a set of Cross ballpoint pens. If you do not know, Cross is definitely a brand to keep an eye out for pens. If you're not looking at pens, I would look at them. That actually might be a good idea for a research video for me, because there are a lot that sell for hundreds of dollars. This next set sold for $69, and I'm gonna show you some keywords I used that I think made it sell a little faster. This is a monogram C. So I did put Cincinnati Reds, even though it was not technically a Cincinnati Reds pen. The monogram was a red C, so I figured I would capitalize that somebody might want this as a Cincinnati Reds set. So this set sold for $69.29. I picked these up for only $5, so they are actually about a $60 profit, and they sold in a little over a month. Up next is a Roseville Pottery vase. I absolutely love pottery. I haven't picked up any pottery in quite a while. This set was sitting in my death pile. It actually sold in under a month, and there's another one you're going to see further on in the video that sold as well. I picked both of them up for $20, so I'm about $10 in. I do caution with Roseville, a lot of the pieces do not sell for very much. The market's down a little bit on those from what I am seeing, so I would recommend checking comps before you pay up for a Roseville piece. This is a Roseville Pottery vase. It is number 77-8. If you do not know, most Roseville does have the item number on the bottom. This was the water lily pattern. It was a double handle vase, and this one sold for $62.37, making it about a $45 profit, and it sold in under a month. Up next is an item that was sitting unlisted in my shed for well over a year, and it sold in hours. Swung vases are pretty hot right now, so if you see one and it's a good color, I would definitely pick it up. This is a vintage amethyst purple Weishar glass, ribbed and footed. This was only 7.5 inches, so it actually was not that big of a vase. I paid less than $5 for this. It sold for $70 in 3 hours, making it about a $60 profit. Up next is the first of a few bobbleheads that you will be seeing in this video. If you do not know, vintage bobbleheads can bring really good money. I was lucky enough to pick up 12 NFL 1960s bobbleheads, and I did have to comp each one of them out. They were very dependent upon the team as well as the condition, so I do caution you from blindly picking up anything, especially if you're having to pay up. I would try to find the exact item that you are selling. This next one sold for just shy of $70. This is a vintage 1960s St. Louis Cardinals NFL bobblehead. This one was made in Japan. It was 6 inches tall. I did also put Nodder in the title. This one sold for $69.30. I'm about $20 in, making this one about a $35 profit, and it did sell in under a month. Up next is another Longaberger basket, and this one is another larger size one, and this one was actually new in the plastic. This is a Longaberger 1996 medium market. I did put picnic basket. It did have swinging handles. It also had the protector. This one did not have a liner. This one sold for $60. I did pay about $10 for it. It sold in under a month. So this one's about a $35 profit after fees. Up next is the second Roseville piece that I got in the lot. I paid $10 for this one as well, and this one also sold in under a month. This is a Roseville Art Pottery water lily vase. This one was 76-8. This one did have a little bit of a different shape. I did research and find this one was from 1943. This one sold for $75, so this one was about a $60 profit. Up next is a Harley-Davidson watch. This was mine. This was not my friend Charlene's. I got this from an online auction in the same place that I got my Harley pens from. This one actually was purchased and then returned to me, and then it was resold. So I did not notice. It was missing the hour hand the first time, so the buyer did return it to me. I listed it again, and it sold in about a month and a half for $65. So this is a vintage men's or women's Bulova HarleyDavidson wristwatch, 10 karat gold filled. I did put read as is because it was missing the hour hand, so it was going to need some significant repairs. It sold for $65, and it was about a $40 profit for me. This next item I picked up in a thrift store for $12. It did take over a year to sell, so it took a little bit longer, but I knew when I saw it that it would eventually sell, and it really sold for a great price. This is a Vera Bradley Pet Cat Dog Carrier. The print was peacock print. I did identify that using Google Lens, and this one sold for $80. Again, I did pay $12. It did take a little over a year to sell, and this one was about a $55 profit. Up next is a set of little houses. They are kind of Christmas ornament collectible type, and they only sell individually for about $5 a piece. So in this case, I decided to lot them up to get a higher sales price. This is a vintage lot of 15, the Americana collection, Liberty Falls. They did have the original boxes. I actually am less than $5 into these. I got them in a big bag in a personal buyout, and they sold for $83.98, making them about a $70 profit. Up next is some plates that I actually just picked up last week thrifting. I showed them in my video over on my new YouTube channel, Catch Treasure Hunting. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely go over, check it out. I'm doing one thrifting video a week. Actually, I'm leaving after I finish recording this video to go thrifting again, so I'm really excited. These plates sold in less than a day. I picked up a set of 10 plates at the thrift store for $8.95. 8 of them were this Thanksgiving pattern. The other 2 were Christmas, so the 8 Thanksgiving sold overnight. These are a lot of 4, but they actually bought 2 lots of 4. So they bought a total of 8 Queen's Myatt Factory Thanksgiving turkey dinner plates. These sold for $76.36, making them about a $55 profit, and they sold overnight. Up next is a Petite Choses brass wreath. I did not know what this was. I saw the brass wreath. I thought it was totally mid-century modern looking, but I was able to identify what type of wreath it was by using Google Lens. So this is a Petite Choses Dresden all holiday 10-inch brass wreath. It sold for $93.87. It sold in under a week. I paid less than $10. So this is about a $70 profit. This wreath really looks kind of strange because it had different animals, it had different holidays, but that is very typical of these Petite Choses wreaths. And the larger ones actually sell for several $100s. So remember what this looks like, and if you see one, I would pick it up. Up next is a teacup. This one is an Ainsley. Wasn't really high selling, close to $100, but I only paid $5. It did take about 4 to 5 months to sell. This is a vintage Ainsley Cabbage Pink Roses light yellow teacup and saucer. Sold for $96.84. I paid $5, so this one was close to an $80 profit. All right, this next one is one of my favorite beaded necklaces that I have found. It is absolutely beautiful and sold for around $100. I will tell you, if you like pieces like this, I am going to have a bunch of them in my first Whatnot sale a week from today. So if you haven't joined Whatnot yet, join it. I will be starting my beaded jewelry out at $5, and I have some pieces that are pretty close to being as spectacular as this next one. This is a vintage glass Native American rainbow seed bead beaded medallion necklace. It does have the tassels. This one, I did pay $30 for this, so I did pay up. It sold for $100 in under a month, so it sold very, very fast. So this one, after fees and the cost of goods, is about a $50 profit, but it was just too beautiful to leave behind. Up next is a bud vase. This was a very, very small vase. It also probably could have been used as an oil lamp. It was signed. I picked it up in an online auction, and I paid about $5 for it. I also got 2 other by the same maker. This is a vintage 1958 Danish Holmegard Perlutkin blue art glass bud vase. This one sold for $100, making it about a $70 profit, and it sold in just over a month. The next item is another one that was my friend Charlene, so we did split the profit. This one sold in about a month, sold really fast. I wanted to show you because I actually have found quite a few of these at thrift stores, so keep an eye out if you see them. Check the brand, check the size, and they could be big money. This is a Watershed Gore-Tex waterproof. It is a men's bib overalls. We did put rainwear. These were size medium. If they were bigger, they would have sold for more. They still sold for $85. So after splitting the fees with my friend Charlene, it was about a $35 profit each. All right, this next item, if you have been watching me a while, you will have seen some of these, but I haven't sold any of them, I think, in close to a year. These are from the Qing Dynasty. They are blue kingfisher feather hair barrettes. I got them in an online auction. They were in a cart. I got a ton of them, and I've already sold quite a few for over 200. So now that I've had them a little bit longer, I have lowered the price a little bit. I am accepting lower offers, and this next one sold for close to $100. This is a 2.5-inch Qing Dynasty Kingfisher feather hair comb. This one was from the 19th century. It sold for $98. So this one was very close to an $80 profit. All right, we have got another 1960s bobblehead coming in at over $100. This one is the Saints. This is a vintage 1960s New Orleans Saints gold base bobblehead. This one sold for $107.09. I did pay close to $30 for this, so after fees, this one is about a $50 profit. Up next is another item from my friend Charlene. She used to ride motorcycles all the time, so all of this stuff has been sitting in her spare room. So just a note, if you have stuff laying around that you haven't been using, why not list it? Why not list it? This purse sold for over $80 in under a month. This is a Harley-Davidson Willie G. Skull tribal design large hobo purse. It was a limited edition, sold for $81.89. So again, Charlene and I are splitting the profit. So this was about $35 each. Okay, the bobbleheads are getting higher and higher. This next one sold for $115. This is a vintage 1960s Kansas City Chiefs bobblehead made in Japan. This one sold for $115. Again, I did pay about $30. This one sold a little higher, so it was about a $70 profit. All right, up next is a meat cleaver. Watch meat cleavers, especially vintage ones, heavy, well made. This next one was marked Schleif, and it was made in Germany. This is a vintage 13-inch Schleif German meat cleaver with a 7-inch blade and a butcher knife. The two of them together sold for $111.99. They did sell in under 2 months. I only paid about $5 for these, so these are actually over an $80 profit. All right, some more bobbleheads. The next one was Minnesota Vikings. This is a vintage 1960s Minnesota Vikings merger gold base knotter. This one sold for $138.59. Again, I paid about $30 for this, so it is about a $70 profit. All right, we have got some more bobbleheads now, but these bobbleheads are not NFL. These are Beatles bobbleheads. If you do not know, some Beatles collectibles can be very, very high dollar. So if you see anything Beatles, I definitely would check it out. This is a vintage Beatles set of all 4 McFarlane cartoon figurines. These were bobbleheads. They sold for $115. I did pay about $20 for these, so these were about a $70 profit, and they sold in under a month. All right, third bobblehead in a row. This one is a New York Jets. This is a vintage 1960s New York Jets gold base AFL Nodder bobblehead. This one sold for $140. Again, I'm about $30 in, so this one was about an $85 profit. The next item, there were no comps for. I priced high because this is an absolutely amazing original photograph of a Kachina dancer. This photograph I got from an online estate auction. It was from a professional photographer, and this is actually a photograph that she entered a contest and won first place. This is a vintage Mora Hen skins original photograph Eagle Dancer Hopi Kachina. This one sold for $151. I only paid about $5, so this one was actually over $100 profit. It did take about 4 months to sell. Up next, and we are getting higher and higher. We are up over that $150 mark. This next one was a Hawthorne Village, which is mostly known for its Christmas decor items. However, this one was a Halloween one in conjunction with Disney. This is Disney's Tigger's Spooky Pounce and Pad Halloween from Hawthorne Village. This one I did pay about $40 for. It sold for $167.99. It did take 4 to 5 months to sell, and it ended up being close to $100 profit. Up next is a beautiful, beautiful cloisonne plate. If you do not know, cloisonne is an oriental art that there is twisted, typically gold wire in between different colors of enamel. This plate had butterflies, was absolutely gorgeous. I picked it up for $15. This is an antique Chinese or Japanese cloisonne charger plate with floral and butterfly jewels. This one did take about 7 months to sell, but it sold for $167.44, making it a little over $100 profit. Up next is the last and the highest selling of the bobbleheads. There will be more items, but this is the last of the bobbleheads, and this one sold for over $200, and it sold in under a month. This is a vintage original 1960s Cleveland Browns gold base bobblehead. Again, with these bobbleheads, I did have to research the actual teams because some of them were worth quite a bit more than others. This one sold for $209.30. I did pay about $30, and this one was about $120 profit. Next is another Harley item. This one was mine. I did pay up. I paid close to $50 for this Harley Zippo. It took about 4 months to sell, but it sold for over $200. This is a HarleyDavidson Zippo lighter, limited edition. It does have the panhead engine on it. This one sold for $244.29, making it close to $140 profit. So this video has been a lot of Longaberger, Harley, and bobbleheads. So something to take away from this video for sure. We are now up to our top 5 items that have sold in the last month. This next one is a single glass that sold for over $200. This is an antique Moser ruby red tumbler. It was a panel glass. This one sold for $259.34. I did pay up for this. I actually paid close to $80 for this glass. I also got a cobalt blue one with it, and that one is still listed. This one is about $100 profit, and it took about 4 months to sell. All right, up next are 2 more of my friend Charlene's items. They are both HarleyDavidson jackets. They actually are matching, but I listed them separately because it would be pretty hard to find 2 people that had the exact sizes that Charlene and her husband did. So these 2 Harley jackets both sold really, really fast in under 2 weeks, and both of them for over $200. The first one is an XL. This one was a Nightfall men's camo jacket. I was able to identify the name of that using Google Lens, and this one sold for $251.37. Again, since it was my friend Charlene's, there was no cost of goods. After fees, this was close to $100 each to both Charlene and myself. And the next one was a little bit different. It was the matching jacket. This one was size medium, and it sold really fast for $280. This is a medium Harley-Davidson Nightfall camo. These actually had the reverse. So this one has the camo there on the body, where the first one had solid black on the body and camo sleeves. Just wanted to point that out. This one sold for the $279. So again, it was about $100 each to myself and Charlene. All right, we are up to our top 2 sales. This next one was a $650 sale, but I broke the item before shipping it, gave the buyer a $100 refund, and then the item got broke more in shipping. Wrapped it as careful as I could. I actually double boxed it. I ended up having to give this buyer a total of $300 in refunds. Luckily, I only paid $100 for the item. Sold for $650. I ended up getting $350. So I still made close to $175 profit, even with all the issues, but stuff happens. It happens. These things are super, super hard to ship. But keep an eye out, and hopefully if you find one, you have better luck than I did shipping it. This is a Judas Priest collectible 2007 Knucklebones Rock Icons Glenn Tipton statue. It is a limited edition. Again, sold for $649, though since it got damaged, I did refund the buyer $300, and this one sold really fast in under a month. And the last item is another Harley item. This is another item from my friend Charlene. It is a set of chaps as well as a jacket, and they sold for $300 in under a month. This is a Harley-Davidson white leather jacket and chap set. Moon Dream was the name of the pattern. Sold for $300 in under a month. I did get a lot of lowball offers on these, and I countered or declined them. So I'm glad I waited. This set actually shipped out to Alaska. So again, this is split between myself and Charlene. So after the fees, this was about $130 to each of us, and it sold really fast. I hope you have enjoyed all of my high dollar what solds over the last month. Again, these were all my sales. You can see my eBay store at the link below. Watch out Friday. I will be doing a jewelry haul video. There will be a lot of Native American beaded jewelry, as well as some pretty cool vintage pieces. And I will show you the jewelry I am giving away. I'm giving away probably over $500 worth of jewelry in my first Whatnot sale. So make sure to join Whatnot, follow me. I will have that show scheduled soon. And Friday, I will show you exactly what I will be selling in it. I hope you're having a great week. Happy hump day. I am off to thrift. Bye for now.